Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum to one and all. In today's video lesson, we again illustrate another problem, an application of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. How do we calculate the induced EMF and the induced current in a coil of wire? Join me till the end of the lesson. Watch and learn. Here's the problem. A circular coil with 455 turns of wire has a radius 5.00 centimeters and resistance 14.5 ohms. The area vector of the coil points in the positive z direction. The coil is in a region of uniform magnetic field that points 20.0 degrees from the positive z direction. The magnitude of the field is initially 0.0600 Tesla and decreases at the rate of negative 3.00 raised to the negative 3 power Tesla per second. Questions. Find the magnitude of letter A, the induced EMF, and letter B, the induced current in the coil while the field is changing. So as shown in the figure, this is one of the many possible situations where electromagnetic induction may happen. All right, so we have a bar magnet that is being moved away or withdrawn from the inside of a coil of wire. All right, with its south pole, all right, on the right end, and of course the north pole is on the left end. And the wire, okay, is also attached to a current measuring device or a galvanometer. Again, we emphasize that as illustrated in the figure, the uh, the bar magnet whose south pole is on the right end and its north pole is on the left end. All right, the bar magnet is being withdrawn from the inside of the coil of wire. Okay, and in this problem, we are given the number of turns in the coil or the number of windings, okay, denoted by capital N, which is equal to 455 turns. And each circular coil has a radius, small letter r, equal to 5.00 centimeters. And the wire's resistance, big R, is also given equal to 14.5 ohms. The area vector of the coil represented by capital A, points in the positive Z axis, as emphasized here. All right. So our Z axis happens to be along the horizontal. All right. The positive Z axis is to the left, and that is uh, also the direction. All right. Of the movement of the bar magnet. Okay. The magnetic field initially, or its what you call magnitude, is equal to 0.0600 Tesla, but it's a little bit deviated 20 degrees from the positive Z axis, right? And its magnitude, of course, is changing, all right? It is decreasing at a rate equal to negative 3.00 raised to the negative 3 Tesla per second. So for now, we label this rate of change in the magnetic field as delta B over T. Right? So as mentioned earlier, the situation given in figure 1 is one of the several possible situations where electromagnetic induction, okay, may happen. Right? We say that a changing magnetic field induces an electromotive force or EMF as well as an induced current in the coil. So the coil is understood to be at rest while the magnetic or the bar magnet, which is the source of the what we call external magnetic field, all right, is being moved. All right, here we're only particular about the movement where the bar magnet is being moved away or being withdrawn from the inside of the coil, all right, in the left direction. So it is being moved away from the coil. As the south pole of the bar magnet is being withdrawn away from the coil of wire, its magnetic flux decreases with respect to the stationary coil. Okay? So when we say magnetic flux, we are referring to the product of the magnetic field and the area of the coil. Okay? How fast the magnetic flux changes as a function of time defines the induced EMF in the coil of wire. And in part A, our target variable is the induced electromotive force or EMF denoted by the Greek letter epsilon. While in part B, all right, another target variable is of course the induced current in the coil of wire, all right? Indeed, there will be what we call induced current in the coil, all right, because the coil is a conductor, all right? Although this conducting wire has a certain value for resistance, but just the same, okay, uh, we want to find out, all right, how much current will be induced. And as shown in the figure, that amount of induced current, okay, will be measured by the attached galvanometer. We start our computations by finding the area, capital A, the area of each coil. Of course, that is equal to the product of pi in the square of the radius of each coil, which is multiplying pi by 5.00 raised to the negative 2 meter squared, we will get the area of each coil equal to 7.85 raised to the negative 3 power meter squared. So we are now ready to proceed in computing the target variable in part A, which is the time rate of change in the magnetic flux. All right, delta capital Phi sub B over T, which may also be expressed as the dot product of the time rate of change in the magnetic field and uh, the area vector, right? The direction of the area vector and the magnetic field, all right, of the bar magnet is not actually the same because the area vector is somewhat deviated, okay, from the positive z axis by an amount equal to 20.0 degrees. So we call this angle the angle between the two vectors, all right, the magnetic field vector and the area vector. So the formula is for us to determine the component, all right, the component of the area vector, which is in the same direction as the magnetic field, and that is by getting the product of the area vector, capital A, and cosine of the angle, small letter phi, 20.0 degrees. So, when you substitute, okay, delta capital letter phi sub B over T equals negative 3.00 raised to the negative 3 Tesla per second. So this is the time rate of change in the magnetic field given in the problem. All right. The negative sign here emphasizes the fact that the change in the magnetic field is decreasing in magnitude. And then we multiply that by the given value or the computed value for the area vector or the area of the coil, 7.85 raised to the negative 3 meter squared, all right, which we computed earlier here. And then, of course, the cosine value of 20.0 degrees is 0.940. So when we do our math, right, we find uh, the magnitude of the time rate of change in the magnetic flux, or that is equal to negative 22.1 raised to the negative 6 Weber per second, right? Weber is the SI unit for the product of the magnetic field and the area vector, right? And Weber per second, of course, is the unit as a unit for the rate of change in the magnetic flux, which actually is also equal to volt. So our answer here means that the amount of change or time rate of change in the magnetic flux, all right, uh, that is intercepted, right, by the stationary coil, right, it is decreasing, right, hence the negative sign, because as we emphasized several times, the bar magnet is being moved away from the stationary coil, right? So while doing that, there is a change, in fact, a decrease in the what we call magnetic flux, right? The amount of uh, time rate of change in the magnetic flux. In other words, how fast how fast is the change in the magnetic flux? Okay, that is uh, intercepted by the stationary coil. So we are talking about how fast or how quick the decrease in the magnetic flux in this situation, right? The faster, all right, the faster is the change, we expect that there will be greater amount of uh, the electromotive force or EMF that is induced in the coil. Finally, computing the amount of the induced EMF in part A, all right, we use this equation. The induced EMF is equal to negative capital N times delta capital P sub B over T, right? This is known as Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction as applied in this uh, setup, right? So the induced EMF, okay, equals negative 455 times negative 22.1 raised to the negative 6 Weber per second or volt. All right, so which gives us the induced EMF equals positive 1.01 raised to the negative 2 volts. All right, so going back to this formula, there is a negative sign emphasized in the equation. All right, this is to emphasize that uh, or it emphasizes what Lenz's law says. All right, any induction effect tends to oppose the change all right, that cause it. So in this case, the change is the decrease in the magnetic flux of the bar magnet's field through the loop. All right. The word oppose is being highlighted by putting a negative sign. All right. This is what is meant by that. When the bar magnet with its south pole on the right end is being withdrawn from inside the coil, what happens is that um, the decrease, right, in the amount of the magnetic flux, okay, of the magnet that is being intercepted by the coil is such that the coil becomes an electromagnet, all right? An electromagnet whose left end becomes the North Pole, while the right end becomes the South Pole, of course, all right? Why is that so? All right? So, Lenz's law says that uh, the changing magnetic flux, okay, because the bar magnet is being withdrawn or being moved away, all right? The electromagnet, meaning the induced EMF in the coil, will tend to oppose the movement of the bar magnet. All right? Opposing the movement means that the coil, specifically the north end of the coil, tends to prevent, all right, such withdrawal of the bar magnet. All right? So why is it? Why is the left end of the coil become the North Pole? Because only a North Pole can oppose, all right, the South Pole of the bar magnet. In other words, while you are trying to withdraw the bar magnet away from the coil, okay, there is a force of attraction between the South Pole of the bar magnet and the left side of the coil, which is a North Pole. So this force of attraction tends to prevent, all right, the bar magnet from moving away. You see that? There is a force of attraction between the bar magnet and the coil, which now becomes an electromagnet. But since you persist in moving the bar magnet away, okay, if you are the one pulling the bar magnet away, you will be able to feel, all right, the force of attraction from the coil, okay? But you try to overcome such force of attraction. So, all right, you increase the amount of force that you're going to use in withdrawing the bar magnet, all right? And if you succeed in moving the bar magnet away from the coil, okay, that is because you are doing work, right? You are doing work in moving the bar magnet away from the coil. So in other words, there is work done, all right? There is work done in moving the bar magnet away from the stationary coil, right? And the amount of the work done, okay, is a form of mechanical energy. But in the process, that amount of work done, all right, turns out to be the same amount of what we call electrical energy. All right? Electrical energy, all right, whose amount of voltage or electromotive force is measured or computed equal to positive 1.01 raised to the negative 2 volts. So clearly, there is what we call um, an illustration of the law of conservation of energy. Okay. You might be wondering, how come uh, the coil was able to, in a way, produce electrical energy? All right. This is simply because of the work done on the bar magnet in withdrawing it, okay, from the coil. All right. So we cannot violate the law of conservation of energy here. Okay. For you to be able to produce electrical energy in the coil, okay, you must do work in moving the bar magnet away, right? And that amount of electromotive force is what we computed as the induced EMF, which of course, uh, similar to having a dry cell or a battery, right? The battery with an electromotive force established, okay, on both ends of the coil. And since the coil itself, okay, is connected to a galvanometer, we're able to measure the amount of induced current, which brings us to our computation in part B. All right, this amount of induced current, capital I, as uh, mentioned by Ohm's law, is just equal to the amount of the electromotive force, or EMF, divided by the resistance in the wire. That is, the induced current is equal to positive 1.01 raised to the negative 2 volts. That's the induced EMF divided by 14.5 ohms, which is the resistance, right, of the wire. And that gives us an induced current equal to positive 6.97 raised to the negative 4 power ampere, or that is also equal to 0.697 milliampere, right? So, because the induced EMF is positive, it follows that the induced current is also positive, which means, based on our illustration in the figure, we can imagine the current to be flowing from the end of the coil with a higher potential, all right, passing through the galvanometer, and of course, going back to the end of the coil with a lower potential. And as far as the galvanometer is concerned, okay, when done in actual demonstration or experiment, you should see the needle or the pointer of the galvanometer to be deflected to the right, which indicates that the current is positive. And as far as the coil circuit is concerned, we can describe the induced current, all right, with a direction that is counterclockwise, right? And our description for the direction of the induced current, all right, agrees with our sign convention for the induced EMF, right? So The current must also be positive, just like the induced EMF. Right? At this point, may I say mabuhay. Till the next episode. MashaAllah. Thank you very much for your indulgence. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alhamdulillah.